Ako si China.
At ako naman si Paul.
Ito ang Project 150, the podcast.
Ano tong Project 150?
Sige, Project 150. Trip lang namin siya ni Paul. Yearly namin siya ginagawa starting November kasi nga birth month namin yon. So, since 2014, magkasabay kami ng birthday, November 30. So, yung mga finaling ganap sa November 30 lang nangyayari. So, yon. Basta simula, siya, yun nga, 150 words, tapos may photo poetry, translation. Kada taon, may bago kaming hanash, ganyan. So this year, gusto namin ay mag-interview ng mga relevant people at mag-share ng kanilang mga kwento. Yeah.
Oh, relevant. Ano pong relevant? Paano po relevant? Ano po ang criteria ng relevant?
May mga irrelevant. Anj, may mga irrelevant. Ano ba?
Ang topic natin na nag-isip tayo, moving on, moving forward.
Ang positive yung never forget. Yung pa rin pala yun. Political pa rin pala to.
True. Why not? Paano ba natin ito sisimulan? Moving on, moving forward. Kasi pwedeng maraming aspect.
Entry point.
Maraming entry point. Saan mga points pinaka nag-resonate sa'yo pag sinasabing moving on, moving forward? I don't know. Ayun nga, could be political, love life, art life.
Art life? Parang ang art hindi masyadong moving on, moving forward. Diba? Kasi parang si art, constantly moving siya. Pero si love life, yan, at saka si political life, may mga kailangang wakasan. So, yon kailangan mag-move on at mag-move forward.
Paano ka nag-navigate, no? Yan. So, paano kung masasabi nyo itong point na to ay moving forward na ako or ito ay nasa punto na ako na kaya ko nang mabante?
Syempre, but for me, like in any aspect, whether it's love, relationships, career, growth, if you find that there is no more growth, like wala siyang room or space to evolve or discover something new, then you have to step away or step forward na. Parang, okay, this is a chapter na. Kumbaga sa libro, diba? Itong chapter na to, na isulat na lahat ng dapat isulat, ng pwedeng may isulat, next chapter tayo.
I really like that chapters. Yun. Totoo yan. Yung, dito ko lang siya din na, na natutunan na ang buhay ay chapters lang. Di ba, Paul? Ikaw ba?
Oo, na as you mature. Oo, kailangan mong phases, steps, process. Ayun, mas yung binanggit ni Anj na process. It's a process. It's a continuing process. And parts of the process is moving on, moving forward from the things that you think are stopping you to create. Sabi mo kanina, create. Create.
Sometimes you feel na, kasi ikaw nag-evolve ka, nagbabago ka. So, ikaw din mismo, may sinusulat ka kung dun tayo sa imahe ng chapters, no, sa metaphor ng chapters. Pwede kasing kung sino ka dun sa chapter 3, chapter 4, by the time na patapos na yung chapter 4 at sisimulan mo yung gusto mong simulan yung chapter 5 kasi hindi na ikaw yung same person sa chapter 4. So, dapat, bago na siya. Dapat, yun, aabante ka na ulit. Ganon. At I think, as we mature, as we age, no, as we go through life, that's something that you only really discover later on. When you're younger, when you're in your 20s, you won't ever think na, ay, magbabago pa ako. You feel so solid na this is me, this is what I think, this is what I believe. And then, those things can change and will change, I feel. And so that entails recognizing what parts of your life, whatever aspect, has to end, so that you can start anew. You can branch off in a different direction. You can write on a new page. Ganun.
Pero when you move forward, meron ka bang, syempre may dala ka, no, ng mga, kumbaga tinatawag na
bagahe.
But sometimes you have to, iwan mo na eh. Tama na. Huwag natin dalhin yun. Iwan na natin sa chapter. Pero may mga non-negotiables tayo sa buhay na dadalhin ko to. Mga core values, I think. No? Mga...
I think, oo naman, essential yung pag-identify ng at the very least core values. Kasi that will tell you, that will also inform you, no? That is your measuring stick, kumbaga na, hindi na to nag-resonate sa akin or parang hindi na siya aligned sa values ko. Yun. So, move on. Ganon.
Bakit mahirap? Ewan ko, anong una kong itatanong? Bakit mahirap? O ano yung mga bagay na nag-challenge? Minsan kasi parang, ideally, ito lahat naman ng bagay. Ideally, madaling sabihin na, ito na, meron akong checklist, I have my core values, I have something to, meron akong batayan on when we, pero in reality, we all know, it's not that easy. So, ano yung sa tingin mo, bakit mahirap? O ano yung mga bagay na nag-challenge?
Holds you back? Siyempre, una, comfort zone. Diba? If you're used to something, even if at some point it doesn't serve you or it doesn't resonate with you, if you're used to it, lalo na if it's habitual, if it's ritual, if it's a company, or kung tao siya, mahirap i-let go yun. Lalo na kung ingrained siya sa buhay mo, kung integrated, intertwined siya sa iyong daily habits, daily life. Natural naman sa tao din yung maging takot sa unknown, diba? That we're scared of what we don't know. So, that's part of why we don't want to leave our comfort zones, and that sometimes becomes the reason for us to not move on or move forward. Sa akin, parang universally yun yung harang. Diba? Balakid sa sulong, gano'n. Kasi nga, di ko alam kung anong kasunod eh.
Can you share us kasi concrete na nangyari, to personal na, pero yung medyo light lang or you think, makakatulong sa ating listeners?
Oh my gosh. Sino makikinig nito?
Kung may maglalagay tayo ng ticket para magbabayad muna gusto mo, para ma-filter natin kung gusto nyo.
For example, I'll talk about a career change. No? So, all my life, as soon as I got out of high school, I got into theater. And you guys know this, right? And then I stayed there for 14 years. Halos 15 years that parang yun yung buhay ko. Parang college, it was really, well, marami akong orgs, pero parang UP, tapos beta, ganyan. And then, at some point, I knew that I needed to grow in a different direction. But even I could already feel that, and it's weighing on me. Iba kasi yung na-enlighten, iba yung light bulb, unti-unti siyang nagsisink in, di ba? Yung talagang, habang tumatagal, bumibigat siya. And I feel part of the reason why it took me so long to actually take a step outside of that comfort zone was because I didn't know if I would excel outside or that I would find success outside of it. Dahil nga, all my life, yun yung alam kong gawin. Not to say that there's never new things to discover there. Like, you constantly create there and you always have new programs to do, but at that point in my life na parang may iba akong kailangang gawin. Pero hindi ko rin alam kung ano at that time. At reality yan, minsan ang mararamdaman ko lang ay parang I need something different. Pero what is that different thing? Hindi mo rin agad na-define. So, it took a while for me to finally let go. Yun talagang, or step out. And even now, I haven't completely walked away from it kasi I'm still an artist teacher in PETA. From the moment I realized na I think I need to do something else, 2 taon bago ako talagang nag-try ng something else.
Push-pull tayo. Ganun ba ang sistema mo nun? Parang struggling ka? Decision making? Was it like that?
Oo. Tapos maghahanap ka ng dahilan, di ba, na parang, hindi, kasi kailangan ako dito. Hindi, kasi bakit ito talaga yung mga kaibigan ko, ganyan. Hindi, ito yung purpose, ganyan. Kapag hindi ka kasi lumabas doon, hindi ka makaka-discover ng bago. Paano ko malalaman kung ano yung something else kung hindi ako lalabas, di ba? And fear of failure, yung particularly for career moves na yung parang, if I try this, will I succeed? Then, at some point, you realize when we mature, na parang mas matimbang na dapat yung, parang masasama yung loob ko pag hindi ko sinubukan.
Tipping point. Pwedeng meron, pwedeng wala. Parang alam mo yun, what was it for you? Pwede naman wala. Alam mo yun, kasi minsan
Meron kasi, kaya lang, I needed to grow. I needed to grow.
Okay.
As in, it came to a point na parang there's a task and then I realized na, oh my gosh, this is the same thing that I've done last year.
Never settle. You never settle actually. I mean, parang there's no room for mediocre eh. Parang, Anj, medyo mababasa ka niyan kapag medyo...
Diba, hindi pwede na. Anong mga instances in your life din yun, yung very distinct, yung alam nyo, okay, I'm opening a new chapter. I'm moving on. I'm moving forward. Kayo naman.
You're asking us. Oh my God. Go ahead, Paul.
Gaya. Hindi ko din masabi na tipping point. Kasi nga, for me, it's more of a process na, ito na naman, parang gano'n, ito na naman. Hindi ko alam kung it's the same for quote-unquote artist. Pero may parang hindi ka talaga mapakali if faced with the same things. Lalo na if you think yourself as someone who needs to create. And doing the same things is not creating for you. It's not creating at all. Ayun nga, siguro takot na dito na ba ako forever, and then if I won't go out of here.
Thank you for that very wonderful question. So, next contestant, Miss Rivera from Fairview.
So, thank you for that very wonderful question. Pero ikaw yung nagtanong. Diba?
Sa'yo.
Yung sarili ko.
Ako, para sa akin, yung trajectory ng yung trajectory ng trabaho sa profession, mas dun sa takot ko na, dito na ba ako mamamatay? Tapos, ito na lang talaga. As medyo grim, no? Pero, ito na lang yun. Tapos, may hinahanap ka hindi ko yun, siguro dahil young, ano yun, kabataan, may hinahanap ka, may hindi ka nasa-settle sa loob mo na, hanapin ko to. At baka wala yun dito, sa kung nasan ako, in this space. So, buti privilege enough, no? I have that privilege to be mobile, no? At iwan yung mga opportunities na meron na in-offer sa atin. Pero mas matimbang sa akin lagi ang matuto. Ito yung parang, sa akin ito yung paraan ko ng pagkatuto. Parang yun yung pinahahalagahan ko din. Ang problema doon, sobrang nasanay kang mag-move forward. Forward ka lang ng forward. Hindi ka nasisettle. Meron akong ganyang dilemma. I don't know, with you guys, meron din mo ganyan. Forward lang tayo ng forward. You never settle. I don't know.
Don't you feel na parang if you do that, that cliche line na parang, don't you ever stop and smell the roses?
Yeah.
The past years kasi one thing that helped me in life, wow! Therapy session! Is really mindfulness practice. And if you meditate, that's one thing that they really teach you is being present in the moment. I don't know, I feel if you are bothered by the idea na I'm always moving and I'm not stopping, then you just have to consciously tell yourself to take a pause and just be in that moment. Because I feel na parang, then you have to ask yourself, if it bothers you that I keep moving forward, then are you moving forward for the right reasons? Or is that even movement at all? Mm-hmm. Or are you just like evading something within your environment or within your life?
Self.
And it's movement, but it's not necessarily forward. So the pause, it's again back to the idea of chapters. The period at the end of that sentence is a necessary step. Diba? So, and the commas, the pauses are necessary.
Gusto ko yun. A pause or a rest is part of movement.
Diba parang sa music?
Kailangan, I think that's a good point na kailangan matutong take time to smell the roses. Yun siguro yun kasi I was parang, I think lahat naman tayo na nakatira sa syudad, sa city, no, we have that kind of na very yung facing natin sa mga bagay-bagay. Meron na tayo, may condition tayo sa ganun eh. Lalo na yun nga, yan, adult na nag-attempt na mag-balance ng career and all sabay-sabay, diba? May pagmamadali na hindi natin alam kung saan nanggagaling. Yan.
And you need to take time to smell the roses because only then will you find out if do I really want to smell roses or do I want to smell fruits. Another very recent experience of mine that I think has to do with moving on and moving forward, but this time with relationships. So, a very close friend of mine, Tatay Jojo, died last year because of COVID. Oh my gosh. No, that's not last year. That's this year. Sorry. So, ulitin ko yun. Tinitingnan ko yung memories. Tapos parang natanong ko sa sarili ko na have I told him enough that I loved him and that I valued him.
Mm-hmm.
And then also started reflecting on if I die in the next week or tomorrow, have I told the people that I love them enough? So parang ang naging pagsisisi ko nun, yung magiging posibilidad ko ng pagsisisi ay may mga tao akong binavalue pero dahil nagkaroon kami ng mga away, I turned my back on them. And will I be able to live with myself or will I die peacefully knowing that there are these people who I've had misunderstandings with? Kaya ko ba yon? Diba, part of moving on and moving forward is also forgiveness. And tinanong ko sa sarili ko na parang, okay, I know that if I die, I will not die peacefully knowing that my relationships, and that I have relationships that were left hanging. I had to move on from my anger. I want them to know that I value them and love them. And maybe our relationship has changed, but my care for them, their importance in my life, their significance in my life has not changed. And I needed them to know that. You move on from that. You move on from pointing faults. Because something is much more important than the fault.
Yeah.
And the more important thing is the love, is the value for that relationship. And that's what we hold on to.
That's so beautiful kasi moving forward is also like you repair, no? Not just for para sa iba, not for external, but for internal, para sa sarili mo yun eh, no?
Kasi titimbangin mo eh, di ba? Parang parang babalik tayo dun sa idea of core principles. Parang at the end of the day, your core principle is something that you value. So what do you value more? Mayroon talagang isa na hindi siya sumagot. And part of the moving on and moving forward is accepting that possibility. And you just surrender that. And it's knowing na I did my part. I tried. I can say that with peace in my heart. I tried and I'm okay. If that person is not ready, kung siya ang hindi ready to move on from that past hurt, I cannot force that on that person. And part of moving on also is accepting that. Kasi kung nagalit ako, kunwari nun, kung ang nangyari ay, naku, hindi siya sumagot, bakit ganyan? Pinadahan ko pa ng box ng shampoo bars, tsaka ng soap. E di parang, di ba, nakikipagplastikan ako sa sarili ko. Ibig sabihin, hindi ako nag-move on. Kasi I'm still holding on to that hurt. But knowing na parang, okay, may process siya. Ito yung process ko. Hindi ka okay lang yon.
What can you say, Paul?
Part of moving forward is parting ways. Could be that, no? You cannot expect everyone to move to one direction. You have to live with it. Parang ganun. Yun siya. Ganun siya. Kasi if you won't take your own direction, the direction where you want to live, baka hindi ka nag-move. Baka you're moving in circles. Hindi ka nag-move forward.
Oh, China, yun yung tanong sa sarili mo.
Probably.
Am I moving in circles? Am I moving in a loop?
Yeah. Wait, we never talk about a love life. No, you're trying to share it kanina.
Sige. Hindi. Okay. I had a previous relationship na long-term girl kasi ako, di ba? So this ex-boyfriend that I had for 4 years, at some point, naging ganit na yung relationship namin. Pero dahil nga, tas intertwined yung buhay namin. I lived in his house. Yun, kasama siya everyday. Pareho kayo ng career, pareho kayong theater artists. Kumbaga ito, hindi siya exclamation point yung nangyari.
Hindi period.
Kasi we were okay eh. So yun, so one night, pauwi ako ng rehearsal. Sa Makati pa ako nakatira nun. Pauwi ako galing rehearsal. Tapos I felt dread. Yung at that time, taxi, hindi pa uso Grab nun. World Taxi, yung tinatawag.
Parang alam ko kung sino doon tinutukoy mo, Anj.
Konti lang naman ang boyfriend. Maraming lalaki, pero konting boyfriend. Kaya sa taxi ako, tapos galing ako ng QC, diba? Tapos sa Makati ako uwi. Pagdating namin sasakyan doon sa Shaw Underpass, yung pababa, yun na. Sabi ko, bakit hindi ako kampanting uwi? Why is there discomfort in my heart? Why am I dreading going home? This is not a feeling that I should be having when I'm in a relationship with someone. Pag uwi ko, sabi ko lang, I cannot do this anymore. We have to break up. Ganon. Finality. Nakatira ako sa kanya. So wala rin akong certainty na saan ako titira. Ganon. Tapos artist pa ako. So wala din akong pera. Diba? So parang, pero it was a step I had to take. That's another way of moving forward. Sometimes it just comes at you like that. It surprises you. It's not something that you mull for months. May mga ganun din. And gut feeling, diba? You trust that.
Kasi we've known you as not just an artist, a performer. You love to perform. Parang kahit saan. Moving on as a performance. I mean, can you perform moving forward, or how would you?
Ang hirap nun
Can you imagine if you perform moving on? I don't know.
I think yes, like there are ways to interpret that. No, the first thing that comes to mind is definitely like dance is the easiest, I think. Not man easiest, but so dance, I think, is form that resonates with when you move forward. It's not just a direction, it's also the way you move. So that's one thing that can encapsulate that feeling or the idea of moving into a new sphere, moving on to a new path. Akala ko tatanong mo, parang ikaw as a performer, nakapag-move on ka na ba?
Sinabi ko naman kanina na, alam mo yun, hindi mo na din maalis eh. Alam mo yun, kahit saan ka na pumunta, hindi pa dahil 14 years mo lang siyang ginawa, pero you know it, that it's you.
Ano naman siya?
As an artist, or as artist, titingnan mga tao na mas imaginative ka. You can imagine things and look beyond something that's not there, parang gano'n. So baka sabihin nila na dapat mas madali ka mag-move on to think of things or where you be heading. Pero hindi. Hindi siya automatic.
Yeah.
Hindi, yes, China.
We're not machine. I just want to reiterate that people are not machines, so we don't like treat people as machines.
Mas mabilis bang mag-move on ng mga artist o mas matagal?
I don't think there's a definite to that. No, I don't think it's something that you can label or whatnot. But in line with what you're saying, na if you're an imaginative person and you can already think of scenarios when you move forward from something, din siya, may flip side yon. You can also imagine all the bad things that can happen. So
True.
So that again will be the fence between you and that step forward. As much as you can imagine the good things, you can also imagine the bad things. I think that goes hand in hand for people who weigh things a lot. All sorts of scenarios can come in. So it's not always like a one track. Moving on from this, I can explore being a chef, ganyan. Moving on from this, I may have no money. Diba? Parang...
True, tama.
Do you know na, I'm just wondering, do you know na ito, naka-move on na ako, or ito, naka-move forward na ako with this ito, may sign or may blinking sign on top of your head, I move forward already.
I think yes. I think there's a feeling of, again, like what I said earlier, at dala na rin ng pagma-mindfulness practice, di ba? You always meditate, your intention is for inner peace, di ba? So when you have that, when you have that sense of, I'm at peace with what is going on around me, with what I'm doing, I think that's a sign na parang, okay, I've made the right choice to step forward. Paano nyo nalalaman na, okay, parang over na ako dun move on ako ganun.
Yung mga dating mga dahilan mo before you find your peace, parang nakakapagod to. Pero when you feel that you have moved on, and then you feel that you move on and your choice, the right choice, kahit pagod ako, pero you don't dread it, parang gano'n. Pagod ako.
Yeah.
Pero you don't want to leave it. Alam mo yun, may gano'n.
You're tired but you're not exhausted, diba? Yung ganun. Tapos you have energy. And our bodies tell us that, diba? It manifests in our bodies.
But you really have to take time, no? When I hear both of you talking about this, parang time is an essential.
Yes.
With all of this, yes, it's essential siya. Bahagi, no? And you don't have to rush. To our listeners, I mean, it's you have your own pace, you have your own timeline. Anj, any final words?
Because we've been talking about moving on and moving forward, diba? But I think another aspect that we need to accept that comes with this stepping forward, moving forward, is also that sometimes hindi laging sequential na I move on from chapter 2 to chapter 3 to chapter 4. Sometimes I move forward, then it apparently is just chapter 2A, and there's nothing wrong with that. We also have to honor that sometimes we move on from things and then apparently it's a step back. And that's okay because there will be something to learn from that pa rin. As long as you learn something from it, as long as you find a way to ruminate on it or reflect on the move that you've done, learn from it, then that's still growth. So growth isn't always just a forward motion or an upward motion. And as long as we're conscious of that, then we have lesser regrets, we have lesser what ifs, if you acknowledge na every step of the way is still a step.
We move forward and hashtag never forget.
Yes.
And never again, please.
And never again.
Mga listeners, mga kababayan.
Yun naman, may mga moving forward talaga na non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable moving forward po ito.
Bante na tayo, guys.
Hindi ko alam kung matatapusin, pero sobrang bitin.
Kayo, wala kayong last words, ba't ako lang?
Ay, true. Mama,
Yun na yun
yung pause at yung rest, pinaka best sa akin. Tapos i-relate ko siya din sa maturing in a way that hindi mo kayang gawin lahat. May pipili ka talaga, parang alam mo yun, may pipili ka, may mga i-let go ka, you have to choose to smell the roses, parang gano'n, may paglalaanan ka na ng lakas mo, ng oras mo, at tatanggapin mo sa sarili mo na, hey, you can do it all. You have to start deciding and move forward in the direction. You have to listen to your heart, to your body, to your heart, and to do the necessary steps.
Yes, moving forward. Actually, dami kong natutunan kay Anj. Actually, mas thank you yung gusto kong sabihin. Thank you for the time, and yeah, ang daming maikling panahon na magbahaginan tayo. Ang dami ko nang nakuha. And isa doon, ang glaring ng pinaka nag-highlight sa akin ay yung pag-forward ni necessary na pwede kang mag-regress. Or quote-unquote, it can be like a medyo step back. No? Pero hindi ibig sabihin nun na yun nga, hindi ka uunlad, hindi pala siya regression. I mean, pwedeng maging paatras ay mas higit na pagkatuto. No? So that's one thing. And then the last ay yung repair. Ang pag-abante ay pag-repair. No? Yan. At kailangan natin yun kasi constant naman ang chaos. No? Yung gulo, yung pagkasira. Pero kailangan i-repair natin. Yun.
Congratulations! Congratulations! Dahil dyan, ito ang iyong moving up certificate.
Moving on. Moving on ceremony.
Not pala, moving on ceremonies. Yun yung tema. Anong mga award? Anong mga award ang ipamimigay sa isang moving on ceremony?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excited.
Thank you for having me.
Yay! Salamat!
So busy.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Salamat!
Salamat.